This is Geography for Grade 12, produced by Tigray Education Bureau, transmitted by Dimtsi Weyane Tigray National and FM radio satellites and social media, and also FM Maqala 104.4.
Hello students, welcome to today's lesson on the soil of Ethiopia. This is Tedros Gday, your geography teacher. Last time, you learned about the conservation of Ethiopia's natural vegetation. We talked about the different measures for preventing Ethiopia's forests such as reforestation, afforestation, controlling burning practices, and the practice of agroforestry. In today's lesson, you will learn about how the soils in Ethiopia was formed. You will discuss the origin as well as which soils exist in different regions of the country. We will also discuss briefly the importance of soil as a resource. Let's get started, students. What are soils and what are they made of? What are soils and what are they made of? Please discuss these questions with your family at home and write your ideas onto a piece of paper. Let's get ready. The question is, what are soils and what are they made of? Let's back to our lesson. Welcome back, students. I am sure you are really interested to discuss about soil. Soil is the uppermost loose or unconsolidated material overlying the Earth's crystal rocks, mostly made up of water, air, organic and inorganic minerals. Soils are a dynamic, natural, and complex substances. They have the ability to support both animals and plants. All your ideas similar to mine. Please feel free to share your answers with your family at the end of this lesson. Do you ever wonder where soils come from? The soils in Ethiopia owe their origin to an array of geological events and conditions. Let's discuss some of them now. Some soils come from broken down parent rocks material, which has been broken to small particles by way of weathering and natural decomposition. Climatic conditions, which largely determine the speed and nature of the processes that form the soil. For example, extreme hot or cold could stop the work of bacteria, and the amount of moisture influences on several aspects of soil formation. Vegetation cover, which adds humus to the soil and renders support to the soil, making animals and bacteria. If you look sample of soils across the country of Ethiopia, you will find differ from region to region. The plateaus in north, northwestern, southwestern, and central and southeastern Ethiopia, the parent rocks are volcanic origin and experience sufficient rainfall. The soils formed in these areas are red basaltic and black basaltic soils. Unlike the red basaltic soils, the black soils have high clay content that makes the soil difficult for farming. Areas in Ethiopia where the hard crystalline rocks are the parent rocks, the soils are poor and thin. They are also rocky and acidic. They range in color from gray to brown. They are found in Hararge Plateau and Borona lowlands. The Afar region has had recent volcanic deposits and dried out lake deposits had occurred. Very shallow and saline dominated soils are formed. Due to time and climatic effects, the soils are not deep and fertile. The soils in the southeastern lowlands, where the parent rocks are sedimentary rocks, the soils lack humus but are rich in phosphorus and potash. They are also low in nitrogen content. The soils in the lower course of the major rivers, transported soils often known as alluvial soils, are dominant. Those soils, because of their volcanic origin and continuous nourishment of water, are fertile. Students, let's do an activity to see if you can remember the type of soils in different areas of Ethiopia. In a moment, you will hear a list of a country's regions. Please describe the type of soil that can be found in each. Write down the regions, please. Write down the regions, please. A. The southeastern lowlands. B. The plateaus in the north, northwest, southwest, central and southeast regions. C. Hararge plateaus and Borona lowlands. D. Lower course of the major rivers. E. Afar region. Again now, A. The southeastern lowlands. B. The plateaus in the north, northwest, southwest, central and southeast regions. C. Hararge plateaus and Borona lowlands. D. Lower course of the major rivers. E. Afar region. Time is up. Let's get back to our lesson. Hello again, students. I hope you do not find this activity to be too challenging. It is good to review this type of material. Often you will commit it to memory. In the southeast lowlands of Ethiopia, you will find soils that lack humus but are rich in phosphorus and potash. They are also low in nitrogen content. In the plateaus of north, northwest, southwest, central and southeast regions of the country, the present rocks are volcanic origin and experience sufficient rainfall. The soil formed in these areas are red basaltic and black basaltic soils. Unlike the red basaltic soils, the black soils have high clay content that makes the soil difficult for farming. In the lower course of the major rivers, has fertile soil due to the continuous nourishment of water. It is often known as alluvial soils. The soil in the Afar region of the country is very shallow and saline-dominated soils are formed. Due to time and climatic effects, the soils are not deep and fertile. Great work, students. It is important to remember that humans depend on soil to survive. That is the quality of the soil in Ethiopia. That's very important, and it is vital to use the land wisely in order to maintain that quality for agrarian economies such as that of Ethiopia, Canada, and the United States. Soil is one of the most important bases of life. Again now, we will discuss the problems that the Ethiopian soil face. We will also talk about the measures can be taken to preserve the soils. As we have discussed in the previous lessons, people in many countries depend upon agriculture to support their families and their economies. Therefore, issues that are related to soil are incredibly important and must be dealt with carefully. Overriding of problems or setbacks can affect the erosion of soils. In agriculture-based nations such as Ethiopia, including topography, climate, bad cultivation practices, and overgrazing. Let's examine each of these problems individually. The worst factor that contribute to soil erosion in a region running water. Annually, Ethiopia rivers carry away large quantity of soil and deposit it into neighboring countries. For example, each year, the river Abai moved about 3 to 4 million cubic tons of soil. In the highlands of Ethiopia, lose around 2,000 tons of soil per square kilometers. The problems are both natural and man-made factors. The cause to accelerate of soil erosion. Two of the main natural factors include topography and heavy summer rains. Many of the rivers that are situated in Ethiopia drive from high places and progress down to lower altitudes. As the water moves downstream, it carries soil along with it and deposits the soil in different locations. During the dry months of the year, Ethiopia's rivers have relatively lower flows. However, once the heavy rains begin, the rivers turn into rushing torrents. In addition, the raindrops wear away as the soil and create deep gullies where small cracks previously existed. Not only do humans accelerate these natural factors that lead to soil erosion, but we also create a whole new range of problems for the soil. Ethiopia's highland regions were once covered in forests, which protected the land from water erosion. However, deforestation has been progressing rapidly and it is speed up the range of soil erosion. A number of bad land cultivation practices have also contributed to an increase in the erosion of Ethiopia's soils. Overcropping, this is one bad cultivation practice. It is the act of planting an area too densely. This approach to farming uses up the soil's nutrients faster than natural processes can replenish them and destroys the land's fertility. Overcultivation, this one entails tilling land every year. For example, in order to keep up with increasing food requirements, people overcultivate their lands. Too frequent tilling can remove nutrients from the soil faster than natural processes can replenish them. Slash and burn. With such a practice, people slash, cut down and dig up all or most of an area's vegetation and then burn the results. In farming, this practice is sometimes used periodically to strip on an area before leaving it to lie, fallow to regain its nutrients. However, since the soil is now bare and therefore unprotected, the land is vulnerable to the forces of erosion. Keeping too many livestock, overgrazing. Most areas used for pastoral activities are overgrazed based too many animals have been kept there relative to their grass. The livestock destroys the vegetation faster than it can replenish itself. When the vegetation is destroyed, the land is laid bare and is therefore vulnerable to erosion. Unscientific tilling. Most peasants do not use being unaware scientific farming techniques such as terracing and contour plowing, which serve as checks against soil erosion. Using inadequately maintained tracks and trails. Without adequate maintenance, frequently used routes across the countryside can gradually change into deeply eroded gullies and eventually make them impassable, for they are partly eroded. Great work, students. Now we know about the factors that cause to erosion of Ethiopia's soil. What can be done about the problem? Work with partner and try to think about the measures that can be taken to help minimize the erosion of soil. Let's get ready. Try to think of measures that can be taken to help minimize the erosion of soil. The time is up. Let's back to our lesson. Hello again, students. There are many different conservation measures you might know. Reforestation. Replanting trees immediately after tree harvesting. Afforestation of areas that are not used for cultivation are along steep slopes that are exposed to erosion. Proper tracing of slopes and are set aside of cultivation. Intercropping. This is the practice of growing two or more crops on the same field so that the land is not exposed to erosion. Controlling livestock populations. Developing improved grass types that can feed more livestock. Installing fences to control the movement of grazing animals, thereby restricting their activities and protecting the areas outside of the fences. Proper construction of tracks and routes so that drainage could not wash them easily. Constructing check dams. Installing shelter belts and windbreaks in arid and semi-arid areas. Did you have several answers, students? If so, Well done. Today, you learned about natural and man-made causes of soil erosion. You also learned about some preventative measures that can be taken to lessen soil erosion. This is all about today's lesson. In the next time, we'll be start a next unit about population of Ethiopia and the Horn. Until then, thanks you, students.